But I wanted to talk about Crestron Home and the importance of Crestron Home to our residential business globally. So that's why I'm here today. So a little history about me. Look, I ran one of the US's largest integrators for almost 25 years before coming to Crestron. I am a Crestron Gold certified master programmer. I spent 2 years on the CDA board of directors, and I've been at the helm of Crestron's residential business for about 5 years now. Next month will be my 5-year anniversary. So I have been in your shoes as integrators. I understand what you deal with every day, and I understand what the competition offers, and I understand how difficult it was at times to deploy Crestron systems in the past using our custom programming. So I want to talk a little bit about that, right, and just show a little bit of history about why Crestron and why Crestron Home. You know, Crestron is known for building the most robust, most reliable, highest quality products in the industry. But in the past, it was difficult to deploy. And look, as a programmer, I know that. You know, it shouldn't take someone hours to sit with a laptop to get a remote control to work a television and a few sources. So the goal when I came on board was to really figure out a way to make the deployment of our systems easier while still delivering a very high quality user experience. And that's really what Crestron Home is all about. So a little bit about the history of Crestron Home. We launched it in September of 2019. But it's built off of proven technology. It's really built off of Crestron Ping, okay? Crestron Ping existed for years in the marketplace. There are thousands, if not tens of thousands of systems out there already. So again, it's a proven technology, but it was primarily built around environmental controls, lighting, shading, HVAC controls. And we knew that we had to expand that to do audio, video, and so much more. But also, again, continue to keep that focus on the ease of deployment and that awesome, fantastic user experience. So with Crestron Home, you deploy it from an app. There's no proprietary software to install. There's no someone having a special version of software that someone else doesn't have. You can deploy the system with an iPad app, a Mac app, or a Windows application. Again, these are simple little downloads, and the system configuration is almost served to you from the Crestron Home processor. You can also pre-configure the system in the cloud, and that tool continues to expand, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But the benefit of this is, especially in this time, of not having to spend a lot of time in people's homes, right? People don't necessarily want you in their homes for long periods of time, and a lot of our dealers don't want to be out of the office for long periods of time. So the idea of being able to pre-configure everything, store it in the cloud, and then when you get to site, pull that configuration down from the cloud with a deploy code. Another awesome thing about Crestron Home is that everything is live as you're doing it. There's no compiling files and loading them and waiting for them to reboot before you can test them. When you create a lighting scene, for instance, and attach it to a button, it's instantaneously functional. So you can walk up to that button and test it, and everything is live right away. Some other little facts about Crestron Home. It is the largest single team within Crestron's engineering and product development. There is no other product, including all of the commercial products, right? This is our bread and butter for the most part around the world, but there is no larger team internally at Crestron other than the Crestron Home team. There's literally over 100 people plus working on Crestron Home globally to build this product, and another 100 or so trying to sell it, market it, and test it. So this is by far the biggest single team. So we are fully invested in the development of this product, and I think some of the things I'll talk about will prove that in a minute, because it really talks about the continuous evolution. Again, this is a product that is a little more than a year and a half old, not even a year and a half old, and yet we've had 8 significant releases in just the first 15 months. Okay, all of those releases have added almost 50 new features. So this is a system that continues to evolve and get better over time. So more devices to connect to, more features, more functionality. And we'll talk about some of those features in a minute, and we'll talk about a little bit about what's coming down the road. And again, for the first time, the user experience gets better just by doing a simple update to the customer system, okay? There's no reprogramming. When we release one of these updates, the dealer can simply log in and update the system. And in many cases, the end user gets a better product than they did on the day of installation. That's never been possible before with Crestron, and it still isn't really that possible with many of our competitors. So we know it's all about devices, right? It's how good is Crestron Home is really as good as supporting third-party devices. So we did some updates to Lutron a few months ago where we integrate to Lutron systems. We've added in some features where you can individually control Lutron loads. Lutron is a big market holder globally, and so we wanted to make sure we integrate to Lutron. Yes, we sell our own lighting and shading products, and yes, we will compete against Lutron, but we know at times there are situations where Lutron is already existing, or there's just no way we can push them out. So we didn't want to automatically exclude ourselves from those projects by not integrating to Lutron. We're obviously supporting our new devices. So when our new devices launch, you instantly have support within Crestron Home. At times in the past, there may have been lags, but this is not the focus at this point in time. When we launched our new switches or our new keypads and all of that, it's automatically included in Crestron Home from day one. And then we're continuing to add new driver types. And I'll talk about that in a minute because we're doing it as at Crestron, as well as we've enabled our CSPs, our Crestron service providers around the globe, to build their own drivers and Crestron Home extensions, which go beyond drivers. Now, to take a second and explain what a Crestron Home extension is, it is a driver that also contains a user interface wrapper, okay? So a driver could be a driver for a television or something we already have a model for within Crestron Home. An extension allows the developer to build a driver for a product that we didn't even think about or didn't model within Crestron Home.
So some of these drivers, John.
Sure.
Sorry for interrupting, but what we've seen is that a lot of the times the programmers, because everybody has programmers, are the ones that really don't like to embrace a system that is self-programmable.
So you say they may feel threatened by Crestron Home.
Threatened by something that somebody can do with an iPad simply without any knowledge of programming. So these guys have to do something cool. So how does that work?
So my experience is this: with some of the most successful Crestron Home dealers around the world, okay, they are the ones that have held off initially for that reason or other reasons, but then they've embraced it and they use their programmers for a few different things. One, to focus on the very high-end projects that have to be custom. And then secondarily, to build things like drivers and Crestron Home extensions, because that really empowers them and differentiates them as dealers from their competitors. Hopefully that answers that question.
Great, thank you.
So again, that focus on drivers, again, is how we're viewed from the outside world. We're only as good as the products we can support and interact with. And so keeping our driver database current and growing all the time is a big focus. So just in the last 30 days, we've posted almost 1,000 new drivers to our database. Again, I don't have it listed here. To look at our driver database, it's drivers.crestron.io. I can share that link later via text. But that is a great resource for you to go look at and plan your projects. Another great resource is crestron.com/home, and you can see all of the current information about the platform. So I talked a bit before about the online configurator or my Crestron Home configurator. Okay, so this is a utility that's built in the cloud. Again, it's not an application or software you install on your computer. It is a cloud-based utility. Again, this is the future of computing, where I don't need to download a piece of software to interact with the product. I can do all of my development in the cloud, and I know that it's stored there, and I know that everyone in my organization has access to that. And the beauty of that is that I don't have to worry about versioning or who's got the latest files. All of that goes away. when I can configure something in the cloud and it's stored in the cloud, and I can then deploy it on site very quickly, very easily. This really is a huge benefit when you're doing projects like MDU projects or high-rise projects where you have a lot of systems that are very similar. So for instance, there may be 5 unit types for a 100 apartment building, and I can deploy all 5 unit types, and when I get to site, pull down the appropriate run. So I am not wasting time redoing things I've already done before. Some of the new things we've added of late are the ability to do engravings on your keypads, and you can even order your engravings right from this website. Button actions, I can configure all of my buttons on all of my keypads in advance. I can get reporting that I can hand off to an electrician, so he can wire the lighting panels appropriately so that all of the proper loads land in the right spots on the right dimming modules. We've recently added a scene editor, so you can actually edit and create your own scenes right in the cloud before you get to site. Again, these can all be customized while you're on site, but the benefit of not having to do all this work while you're on site is fantastic, and an ability to do that all in advance. Again, reporting, so I can then share with the customer, the end user, what keypads have what scenes attached to them and what those scenes actually do. So in North America, this has been a huge success. You can see in September 19, from when we launched all the way till now, we did have a little dip, obviously, in March and April when there were some lockdowns in the US from the pandemic, but you can see that steady and continuous growth and adoption of Crestron Home. And a few things to talk about, right? The dealers that are selling Crestron Home are doing really well, not just because of the platform itself, but the ease of implementation are getting them into projects, out of projects quickly, and getting them paid quickly. So they're able to move on. I did have one dealer call me at the end of last year and thank me specifically for Crestron Home. And this is one of our biggest dealers who has a very large programming staff. They've been successful with Crestron for over 2 decades, deploying our custom systems. But he wanted to state that in the last 6 weeks of the year, he was able to get about 10 projects done. And these were projects he would have never taken on in the past. That he was able to start, finish, and get paid for about 10 projects that he would have never taken on, and that equaled about $500,000 in business. So what that meant to his cash flow at the end of the year was incredible. These, again, were projects he probably would have walked away from because he didn't have the manpower resources to do them. But because Crestron Home can be deployed by the technician and not the high-level programmer, it really enabled him to do more business at that point in time. So I want to talk a little bit about some recently released products that really focused on Crestron Home. So you may have seen our new touchscreens, our 70 series touchscreens, which are just beautiful to look at. They function far more efficiently, far more speedily than the previous versions. Faster processor, more memory, higher resolution. They include Wi-Fi. So at bedsides, for instance, where you may not have an Ethernet jack, I can install a tabletop panel, connect via Wi-Fi, and in a few minutes be connected to Crestron Home. But we did also offer an R version of these panels, right, that only run Crestron Home. So yes, our standard 70 series can run Crestron Home and all of the custom projects, but our R versions of these panels only run Crestron Home, and they are at a more competitive price. So they're just less expensive. They're easy to set up. Like I said, you literally just connect them to the network via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. It binds the Crestron Home processor on the network. You enter in the password for the user interface, and it instantly connects, and then it prompts you to select which room this panel lives in. And that's literally it. I've sent a few of these out to press members. These are not technical people who've gotten them up and running in just a few minutes. So it's an easy way to deploy and a fantastic, again, user experience. And the panels from an industrial design are just really, really nice looking. To talk a little bit more about the panels, on the left here, you'll see how they compare to our previous generation. So they're smaller footprint, but higher resolution, so more pixel density. And that's really what makes them look so great in person. They definitely compare to our competition in just an aesthetic way. far greater, right? The thinner bezels, the higher resolution displays, the quality of the industrial design definitely stand out amongst our competitors. And then lastly, on our new 70 series panels, you can run the Crestron S2 app. So yes, we integrate with the Sonos S2 app. So yes, we integrate with Sonos from the API perspective. So I can see what's now playing. I can select one of my Sonos favorites from a list. I can pause, go to my next track. But if I really want to dig deeper, if I want to browse for an artist or search for a song, I can launch the Sonos S2 app right from the touchscreen and interact with Sonos really nicely. And this is unique to Crestron and unique to these panels. Another product we launched that is specifically built around Crestron Home is our Crestron Home audio conferencing system. I'm talking to you right now on one of these. So it is a USB speaker array, microphone array and speaker at a very high quality, but it also runs Crestron Home in the user interface. That touchscreen is a Crestron Home application. So I can have a quick action. So when I join a call like I did this morning, I can press one single button that muted the audio in this room, set the lights appropriately, and turned on an indicator outside my door to let my family know that I am on a call and not to disturb me. And when I'm done with this call, I could press another button that ends this scene, restores my lights, maybe put my TV back on, and turns that light off outside my door.
Care of the dog too?
I have to build an extension for that. But it's really about two things. It's delivering a high quality audio conferencing device in the home office, right? This microphone array, I am about 4 feet from it right now. I assume and hope it sounds pretty good. When I hear you talk, Federico, I think it sounds wonderful. But the fact that I have those controls for my room and my home right at my fingertips are also just incredible.
I have a big microphone in front of me because I haven't gotten my 30 yet, so but I'll get it.
All right. Look, this is just a great opportunity. This is a product that effectively no one out on the outside world is going to ask for because they don't know it necessarily exists, right? This is the first in its breed or first in its class of a new technology for the home office space. And again, this is Crestron thinking about what it can use from its commercial side or enterprise side of the business and bring that into the home or residential space. So the Crestron Home mission, again, laser-like focus to continue to evolve this platform, right? Again, that team is, like I said, the biggest team at Crestron, and they are hugely focused on delivering new features. Sorry, Federico, did you say something? Oh, okay.
Sorry. I was playing with the.
I thought you had another question. I'm sorry. So look, our composition, some would say, is slightly distracted these days, and we are not. We are focused on continuing to improve this platform, continuing to evolve this platform, and make it better for you as dealers and for the end users. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our future roadmap. So next week, we have version 3.4 scheduled for release. Now, keep in mind, we've already had 8 releases up until this point. This will be our 9th main release to this platform, and we have some significant new features coming. One is to enhance our online configurator, right? We're going to add in support for our DIN rail products, right? These are popular all over the place, especially places where you don't have room for equipment racks or large amounts of equipment. So being able to install products right into a DIN rail cabinet is hugely important, and the fact that you can do this in advance now is really is a real benefit. The ability to redeploy. In the past, the online configuration utility would allow you to do this once. Now, if you're on site and you see that you want to make more modifications, you can continue to work in the cloud utility and then push down to the system again. We now support, or will support next week, the built-in tuner in TVs. We're starting to see more cord cutters out there, people who are not paying for TV service from a satellite or cable company and wanting to use off-air TV signals as well as streaming services. So our smart TV drivers, which we're just launching right now to be ready for next week, will support the embedded applications as well as the internal tuner. And then device roadmap, right? We talked about before a little bit about enabling our CSPs and our dealers to develop more drivers. We will inevitably support these drivers. If someone wants to build a driver for a product, we will host them in our cloud, right? So right now, if someone builds a driver, they own it, and it's really limited to just them and their team. The goal is that we will be able to take these drivers, if they want to, and share them with the entire community. So CSPs out there are excited about this. They can get their products out there into the market much more easily. We'll identify in our database which ones are Crestron first-party drivers and which ones are built by CSPs, and then again, which ones have even been tested. Additional device types. So again, this will continue to evolve. Connected garage doors. These are things that people ask us for. KNX is another product line that we will focus on supporting in the second half of this year. One big thing that I think will make the systems much more usable for end users is the end user's ability to edit and create their own lighting scenes right from the app. So right now, lighting scenes are created by the dealer. An advanced user can have support of this from the Crestron Home Setup app on an iPad. But to make this even better and easier, we're going to build this into the Crestron Home application that your end user uses. So they'll be able to customize their systems without involving the dealer. Remote access. So currently, we require the opening of ports on a firewall to the system. We want to move to, and will move to by Q2 of this year, a secure cloud relay service. The beauty of this is that it eliminates port forwarding, it simplifies deployment, and puts the security of the system in the hands of the homeowner. So they will claim the system on site, they'll sign up for access, there'll be two-factor authentication. So again, this is really about security and privacy for the homeowner. These are things that are front of mind for everyone these days. And these are things that we know we can deliver, and we will deliver in the second quarter of this year. And these are, again, this continual evolution. And keep in mind, this will be built into that release. So anyone who has a system, and there are tens of thousands of Crestron Home systems out there already, will be able to benefit from this after the fact. And that's all I have today. So thank you very much. Any questions?
That's fantastic, John. Thank you so much. You know, one of the things that I would like to ask you, and we are waiting for the chat questions coming right now, but one of the things is that we know that in Brazil specifically, we have other brands that are in the market. What would you say to the ones who want to start right now with Crestron Home and want to switch and want to get that experience to their community and to their end users? What would you say to them? What is your tip to them?
So look, I think that trying it is everything. I think that if you can get a basic system in your home or in your showroom, become familiar with it, because I can say all I want about the ease of deployment, but until you witness that and experience that, you haven't seen it. And that instant access of being able to add devices and how they instantly work is unlike any other platform out there. So I think that speed of deployment and that other portion, that high quality user experience, the way the app functions on a mobile device or on our touch screens is unparalleled. There isn't anything like that from any of our competitors out there.
That's exactly the simplicity, the quick deployment, the great looking, everything, you know, in a beautiful platform that you can deploy easily. That makes it great. So that's fantastic. Federico, sorry.
Yeah, I want to add that there's a demo app that everybody can download. The customer can download. Everybody should download. Jeff is going to talk a little bit about that as well. But that's awesome. It explains exactly how it works. And when you press a button on the app, it works immediately.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So yeah, you can download the Crestron Home app, and you can run it in demo mode right now without connecting to a system.
Also, we have in Brazil, AV Group has a full demo system working, deployed, everything. So you can take your customers there anytime.
Isso, e a gente tem aqui um sistema bem grande, com mais de 20 zonas de áudio, 20 e 15 zonas de vídeo. Então, é um sistema que já está rodando aqui há 6 meses e é perfeito. Funciona tudo maravilhosamente bem, super simples de configurar e tudo. No final da apresentação também, pessoal, nós vamos ter uma promoção especial para esse evento, justamente para que vocês todos que participaram do evento possam comprar um sistema de demo para o showroom de vocês a uma condição super especial. Então, eu concordo, é muito importante que vocês tenham isso rodando para que vocês experienciem mesmo como é fácil a programação e qual que é a sensação de usar um Crestron Home. Isso é muito importante e nós vamos fazer o máximo para viabilizar isso para vocês.
Fantástico. Well, with that, I would like to thank you, John Clancy. Thank you so much for participating with us this morning.